Welcome back, everybody. Unconditional Surrender, me, myself, and I play through the main event scenario. Games published by GMT Games, designed by Salvatore Vasta. We are going to be going into the Soviet operations phase of April 1943. The weather is poor in the cold zone, so there might be a few more things the Russians will do. The Germans did try to cut down some of my airplanes. Did a pretty good job of it. All the frontline airplanes are down. I do have one back here that I can probably fly up wherever I need to try and get a decent assault or whatever. It is poor, so my tanks actually count. My airplane counts. My shock are good for +2. So we are going to have some attacks going on here. There's a German airplane there. Let's see. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I'm there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5th Air is going to fly to 2859, take a sortie. So he's in position. And then we're going to spend 5 here for these 3 units. So that puts me down to 25. They are going to assault the 8th Army. Hello, H. We're going to start off with the Guards unit being +1 for being... the Germans start off at +2. They can throw in a tanks and an airplane, which would make a maximum of +4. I start off with a Guards unit at +1. Then I add in a tank, that's +2, and shock in poor is +2. So I'm at +5 now. I'd be -1 for the river and -1 for the hex. So we're starting off at a +3 to +2. Then we go to combat commitment. Both sides commit. The Russians commit their airplane. The Germans will commit their airplane. Goes back to the Russians. They're going to go ahead and use one of their tanks markers. They'll commit a tank marker as well. The Germans, this is a kind of a really touchy subject because of the retreat route, so they're going to go ahead and throw their tanks here as well. Okay, so then we have to do an air combat, and then I'm not sure of the minuses here. So I'm going to do the air combat. The defender starts off at +2 for German, -4 for sorties, and -2 for the weather. So he's at a net -4. So best he can get to 2. The Russians start off at a -1 for sorties and -2. So the best is a 3. So basically the Russians have to roll like a 5. Oh no, they have to roll a 6 to even have a chance. The Russians roll a 2. So it'll be a 1-for-1 split. Can't hurt each other more than that. And we'll both get to add in our +1. So the defender will be +2 for German, +1 for his tank, +1 for his aircraft. The Russians, go through this again, +1 for the Guards unit being the one that's the primary. And he actually gets another +1 because he's now considered an armor unit because they threw a tanks marker on him. And then he gets +2 for his tank buddy, +2 for his shock buddy, and +1 for his airplane. And then he has to subtract 1 for the river and 1 for the weather. So it's a +5 to a +4. I need extreme die rolls again, but like I said, if you don't roll the dice, you don't even have a chance. So the Russians roll 5 + 5 is a 10. Not bad. It's nice that it's not severe. So I have a 10, and the Germans roll also a 5 + 4 is a 9. And a 10 to a 9 is, guess what? A diamond. So lots of thunder and noise, but nothing really happened. Turn track, put our tanks markers back for both of us. And so that kind of fizzled. Didn't do what I wanted it to do. We're going to go, I think, boy. go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if I swap the armor and or shock units. This could be a +2 to a +2 in Tula, but he's got airplanes and I don't. So I think the only other real attack, because I don't have any airplanes in the north, so maybe in the far north, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I think we're just going to go ahead and take this city. Let's convert that to Russians. 62nd will move in, so that's another national production point. Just so that I have it. Really can't do an assault in here because my airplanes are. Well, he'd only be +1. And he'd be plus. I'd be. Nah, well, let's do this one down here. This is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to do. What's my national tracks at? That would put me down to 17, which would only leave me 2. I'm not sure I want to do that one. I'm going to fly the airplane, I think, up to Kazan. Actually, I don't need to go up that far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to go this far, so we'll go there. 2, 3, 4, 5. That gets me down to most of the Don. And then we're going to 1, 2, 3. I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to be one further up. Sorry. 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Then we're going to attack the 15th, like we did the last time. So the guards activates for 2, each shock for 1, so that's 4 more. Puts me down to 20. I still have 3 points that I can move around or play with. We will go to combat commitment. Everybody commits. Russians throw in their airplane, Germans throw in theirs. And then the Russians will throw in their tanks marker. And that'll be, do I have a heavy artillery? I do have a heavy artillery I could throw in here. Nah, we'll see if we can do it without a heavy artillery. So I will throw a tanks marker on the shock unit. This shock unit, that's the guards unit, I'm sorry. This shock unit is the primary, so he starts off at +1. And then I get +2 for a shock army and +2 for the guards because they think it's an armor. So I'm at +5. We have to roll our airplanes. The Germans are a net of -4. The Russians are at a net of -5, so there's no way that either one of us can stop the other. So we will just take a sortie each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm actually going to take it on the guy in Bryansk. So the German airs get through. So there are 2 for German, +1 for air. And the Russian air gets through. And then they're -1, -1. -1 for the forest, -1 for the weather. So, what can you say? Again, it's one of those things, if you don't roll the dice, you have no chances at all. So the Russians get it +4. They roll a die. 5 + 4 is a 9. And the Germans roll a 1. +3 is a 4. And a 9 to a 4 is a DR. So we push them back from Moscow. They go to 2353. And the guards unit will take the hex. Just so that I have retreat routes in the future. I'm going to put this down here so I can put it on the turn track real quick. And that takes care of that. So we had a success there. That sets me up for a possible 3-hex assault on Tula, unless the Germans push me out of one of those hexes. So that's good. I think I'm going to go... I only have 3 points left. So I'm thinking I'm going to spend 2 of them to move this guy up. And 5 airplanes is 15. And do I have an infantry move somewhere else? Oh, I'm not going to move that armored up. I'm going to take that back. I am going to move an armored, but I'm not going to move that guard's tank army. I'm going to move this tank army up here. Where is he? I lost him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. 8, 9, 7. I'm going to put him in there. Actually, I could have moved him in here. I'll spend the other point to move this guy into Kalinin. And then this tank would be able to move in here. Did him in the wrong order, but that gets me down to 17. Is that right? I'm going to have to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to here. 6, 7, 8, 9 for these guys. So that's 9. That would have put me at 21. Or did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9. You would have been 10. That's 11, 12. That puts me at 18. So I can try to play some other games here. No, and then there was one up here in the north. I moved that infantry. Forgot to activate him. I did move him in to take the city. So that puts me down to 17. So basically I have 2 movement points left. So I can go ahead and move this guy out. 1 space. And that puts me at 15, which is what I need for my aircraft. I have nothing on the card as far as builds, just upgrades. And I'm not sure if I'm going to upgrade any infantry at this point. I might upgrade 1, because I know I have at least 2 infantry that are not needed anymore. So I might end up, well, there's a third one back in Gallon. I might get out all 3 of my guards upgrades. Not sure where I'll put them, but I might get them all out. Yeah, that should be interesting. Okay, that's the Soviet operations phase. Everything's in supply, so we don't have to worry about that. I didn't stick anybody's nose out. Didn't get any real huge successes. I got a little bit of one. Got some breathing room around Moscow, threatening to push out on Tula, which I think with the pressure from the south and the pressure from the north is pretty much going to break the Don by May, June of 1943, which means the Germans will be in retreat mode, trying to set up a good defensive line somewhere else. And that's what we're trying to do anyway. You just got to push them. Push a little bit here, push a little bit there, get a couple lucky die rolls, and never know what can happen with the Russians. And that's Soviet operations. There's nobody with a no supply marker. Replacements phase for the Axis. They had a bunch. 18 points left. 18 points is these airplanes. 3, 6, 9, 12. 15. And I'm going to go ahead and clear this, even though it's kind of wasteful because I only had one sortie, but best to be cleared out because I'm going to have 2 bombers to face now, unfortunately. So that's my 18. And that's everything. The Italians had 9. They're I'll go ahead and clear their airplane. And let's go ahead and at least make this look good. That's 7. And I think they have, if I remember right, they have a faction card. Yeah, they do have a militia to build, so a garrison unit, or whatever you call it. So I'll be building that. Yeah. I'll probably build it up here in Bologna or something. All right. That's Axis replacements. Soviets, we kind of already know what's going to happen. It's 3, 3. So that's 6, 9, 12. And there's one in Kalinin. 15. And that's exactly how many points they have left. So they spent their 15. There we go. Yeah, that's where we sit. That was the Soviet replacements. Upgrade, none for the Axis, none for the West, but the Soviets. The West doesn't have any. The Soviets have some. And looking at this, I have some infantry that can be removed behind the line. I've got one in Kalinin. I've got one here north of the sphere. And I've got one hanging out behind the Don over here. So I can get all 3 of these on here. The question is where do I want to put them? What other units am I going to take out to make guards armies in here? I'm thinking I almost need a couple guards armies up here to get the +1 to get across these dang rivers. So I think I'm going to get rid of the 14th and the 46th to put a guards army in here. I'm thinking maybe the 44th. I'm going to take him out and the 16th and put a guards army in that hole. And then maybe on the end of the line here in the 8th Army, we'll get the other one. And his 2nd Infantry will come out of Kalinin. And get all my guards on the board. Okay. Didn't use the heavy artillery that last turn. Probably should have somewhere. But maybe this upcoming turn. Oh, that's that. Oh, I didn't save one for the Germans. Did I? No, I didn't. I have a garrison to build, and I didn't save a point to build it with. So we go on into mobilization. The Italians will build theirs. I knew there was a reason why I was going to shouldn't have done something I did with the Germans. Some of my shifting, I probably should have waited a turn. Oh well, I'll get them next turn, hopefully. The Italians built their garrison unit here. Where is he? Put him out in the ocean for now. We'll build him in... I won't have anything. I'll put him in Venice. No, I'll put him in Bologna. I don't really have a good place to put him, but I'll put him on the board anyway. And the West does not have anything. And the Soviets do not have anything. So nobody's talking because we're all at war. They haven't conquered Germany yet, so the turn isn't over. We go to end of turn phase. Oh, no, I wanted that. End of turn phase here. The Germans get back their tanks and submarines. Russians get back their tanks and partisans. Ooh, and they get Guards Tank Army upgrades. So a couple of my armor units going to get replaced next turn. And that will be at the beginning of the May 1943 turn when we return. So we are well into 1943. So this has been the Me, Myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario. That was the end of April 1943 turn, Soviet operations and end of turn phases. This is Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe so that you can keep up on all the episodes as they come out. My goal is to have this entire game up on YouTube for people to be able to peruse at their leisure and see examples of things that I found out how to do in the game, and to tell me all the horrible strategic decisions I made. Leave me comments. I do respond to them. And we will see you next time at the beginning of May 1943. Hopefully we're going to start getting some clear weather and maybe things will start popping in around the map. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.